obviously unsocial hours because we have to work when the weather permits us to work. So these are the kind of things that you need some arm's length body to legislate on and to say this is how it should be. And at the moment that exists. If you take that away, what you're going to have is those two parties discussing directly with each other, and they work very closely at the moment. And if you create a rift by creating a disagreement where there isn't one at the moment, because there's somebody else speaking on both sides of the argument, then you're going to create problems for the future. And we want an industry that's high in skills. So obviously anything that pushes up wages for the lowest earner makes the industry more attractive. We want to maintain that. You know, it's a very complicated industry now. It's a multi-skilled industry. Same in forestry. You don't do one thing. You do a wide array of things, mainly to do with problem solving, you know, as a job really. So there's obviously urgency in this. So we support you to the hilt. I can stress you that. And as you say, otherwise it's a drive down on wages, and we don't want that. And the other important thing as well is that it's not going to cost anybody hardly anything to retain it. It exists. If you get rid of this, this already is there. If it's disposed of in England before we do something in Wales, this is thrown out and Wales has to start again. We don't want to put you guys as legislators in that situation either. We don't want, this is there. It's a substantial body of work that we need to retain. So there's urgency in it, really. And
in fact, all that's required is it's under review and it's monitored and as a result of discussions, adjusted periodically.
Absolutely.
So
they meet as and when required, and there's an annual review. That's what happens at the moment. And obviously, the people who do meet, you can choose those. You can create a new body of representatives, if you like. But for God's sake, try and keep what's already there and work from there. You know.
One last thing I would say: if we do manage to retain the England and Wales board, then there should be a push from your union for a seat. There are 8 seats there that you hold on there. 8 seats and you don't get one. So if we do manage to keep this board, you should be pushing, and we'll support you for a seat on the existing board. And,
well, I'll reiterate that, but I will also say that this is part of the maturing, devolutionary situation in Wales as well. There's a potential there that if we don't succeed with what you're advocating, then we have to start being mature enough to stand on our own 2 feet and say, we're different here. We already do look different, and there's a Welsh brand involved here as far as attitude to employment is concerned, which we need to back as well, I think.
I think it would be totally contradictory to be saying, let's do away with the Agricultural Wages Board, and at the same time then looking and saying, well, what are we doing about rural poverty? What are we doing about equality? And what are we doing about making the agricultural sector more attractive for the future, so that people actually want to stay in it, rather than leaving the country. So it ticks all those boxes of government policy, sustainability.
It does, and it costs, I reiterate this again, the taxpayer are almost nothing.
£57,000 the board cost last year for the whole of its functions across the whole of the United Kingdom. Well, sorry, not the United Kingdom, because it's the England and Wales board. It cost £57,000. It is a joke.
Yeah. Even I make that much money in a year.
I don't.
Is there another problem? If we're going to lose, it's just short of £1 an hour in the wages. I can't remember the figure. I think it was 19 to 92.
Yes.
92 possibly. That then is lost into that economy.
Absolutely.
And the value of losing £1 could actually, in reality, because it's the other jobs then, the small shops and pubs and post offices and other people, could actually be £4 loss by the time you go through, and other jobs that are relying on, you know, the farmers or the farm workers or anybody on the land spending their money are equally affected.
And I would be really disappointed if that pound was spent in arguing between both positions and on lawyers, basically.
Exactly.
As an ex-lawyer, I totally knew.
I knew I'd get that when it came out. Most politicians are ex-lawyers.
I've heard all the jokes.
I know.
Well, I heard a figure the other day that for every £1 spent by a farmer generates £16 in the local economy. So £1 lost in wages is £16 an hour lost from the economy, in theory.
Just one other thing, just from what you just said now. it's not just agricultural wages
No,
that will
it's
come
not.
down as a result
No, it's
if this, because it is used as a benchmark across rural industries. Now, I'm self-employed, and I can tell you, I'm on the Agricultural Wages Board, and when we increase our, when we get a 2.8% increase, as we do last year, then I expect my prices to go up by 2.8%. So I'm just one example of this whole host of people across rural areas in England and Wales whose wages aren't defined by the Agricultural Wages Board, but are very closely linked.
One point that hasn't been raised is young people coming into the industry as well. Removing the wages board and reducing the down to minimum wage is going to make the industry less attractive at a time when we need
60,000
Yeah,
new
60,000
entrants a year.
new entrants.
Where are
into
those
the
guys going to
industry.
come from if they think that they're going to start on minimum wage, which isn't the case at the moment?
It's also
No, over time, none of the other matters that relate
Less
to
holidays,
that's right, sickness and so on.
bereavement leave.
Why
Rain.
yeah, no, it's a very, very real issue.
It's a shame the YFC can't make it today, because I'm sure they'd have raised at that point as well. It's also keeping those young people in the industry. Yeah, if they can find a job somewhere else, which pays just even £1 more if it drops the minimum wage, they are going to leave the industry, leave the rural area, leave the farm, to go to, because they can earn more money. And then you lose the skills which they're either learning or they've learned from the industry now.
But they're using their vehicles as well. And I mean, I use my vehicle to get round Mid and West Wales. Somebody did once suggest I try and do a day on public transport. Well, it would be a very short day, I have to tell you.
You'd have to set off yesterday.
Yeah, pretty much.
But to lose that money at the same time when petrol prices in rural areas are higher anyway is a real double blow, if you like, potentially to those workers, because having to pay the extra price on fuel, whether it's petrol or diesel, and perhaps take a near £1 reduction, in their wage, which they have no control over. And if it's only costing £57,000 a year to run an efficient body that all sides are happy with,
Yes.
I just